you set up your bedroom, the kinds of activities you engage in before sleep, whether you have alcohol before bed, when you drink coffee. And I did a series of talks for the Vancouver airport. A friend of mine is one of the VPs, and some years ago, this was a while back now, they had an incident that you'll read about in the newspapers, but they asked me to come in and talk to all of their grounds crews and their maintenance and emergency services. So over the course of about 3 months, I talked to all of these groups. There's about 150 of them. And it was interesting, to get the feedback from. It was really my first interaction with shift workers before actual real shift workers. And some of the things that you say that they would say are quite eye-opening. I'd be talking about sleep hygiene and talking about caffeine. And this one fellow was telling me, he asked a question that was something about his sleep. He has weird sleep, and so I asked him about how much caffeine he was drinking, and he says, not much. He said, dead serious. He said, only about 30 cups a day. And he was dead serious. He thought that wasn't a lot of. Does anybody think that that's not a lot of caffeine? that's a lot of caffeine. I can tell you other stories where very, very simple kinds of pieces of advice can make a big difference. A friend of mine's a shift worker at Dairyland, not far from here. I play hockey with him, and I gave him some advice. I asked him his sleep is terrible, so I asked him to describe his room. And I said, "Have you ever thought of putting blackout curtains?" He said, "No." It's like 20 years of bad sleep. You're trying to sleep during the day. Blackout curtains. So he put some blackout curtains up, and a couple of weeks later, he comes to me and says, "I can't believe how much better I'm sleeping just by having like serious blackout curtains where no light gets in at all." So little tips like that can sometimes make a big difference.
Well, what about alcohol? What would be the expected effect?
Yeah, well, the known effect of alcohol is that it's bad for sleep. Alcohol will fragment sleep. It inhibits REM sleep. It inhibits slow wave sleep, stage 3, 4. So it does all the things that together add up to what we call low efficiency sleep. Early morning awakening as well. And there's dose response effects as well. So yeah, so if you have a big day the next day, if you're going to drink any alcohol, it's best to do it early in the evening in very small measures and with food.
So your expectation would be if somebody was drinking the night before a competition would affect them the next day?
Yeah. Well, there's no question it would affect their sleep. I'm sure that if we did performance measures, we could find ways in which it was affecting their performance as well. Again, there's going to be individual differences in how much alcohol people can consume based on body size and metabolism. But as a general rule, it's best to be avoided the day before. Now, William Dement, whose name I just mentioned, like to say that he did like his glass of wine in the evening. He knows exactly what it does to his sleep, but he still likes his glass of wine in the evening. So, what do they say? The poison is in the dose. And all things in moderation, you can enjoy. So dose matters. So a glass of beer or a glass of wine, I suppose, with dinner on the day before a match is probably not going to have a detectable effect. But it can if it's not your routine, and larger doses certainly have a negative impact. It's definitely going to affect your sleep. Even a small amount of alcohol is going to affect your sleep objectively. Whether that's going to have an impact on your performance or not is, again, that's going to depend on the degree of disruption, what kind of sleep that you might have, the recent history, what time of day that the competitions are going to be, what you do in the morning. Those are all things that are going to interact. Sleep assessments for players, what you would do prior to sending anybody to a sleep clinic would be to administer questionnaires. So we have quality of sleep questionnaires. This is the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Inventory, which is used widely. There are chronotype questionnaires as well, which describe, this is the Munich chronotype questionnaire, this is the morning eatingness, and this is the AIMS, which is a version of the morning eatingness questionnaire for athletes. And what this will do is tell you if you have any people in your team and among your trainers, et cetera, who are